Alright, hopefully my fan isn't too loud and you can't hear it too overly much, but hey, you got past the big guy here. A couple videos ago, big guy halted my progress. At that point in time, I was playing an entirely different character, but now the big guy's gone. Much as I thought, getting rid of the big guy was pretty easy. Once I got not just a bow and several arrows, but quite possibly the best bow in the game, and all the stats needed to wield it. Along with some very special arrows. Yeah, so I don't like to leave things unfinished. So you might be saying, hey, you don't like to leave things unfinished, neither do I. Let's go back to World War II and figure out what's going on with it, right? Thing is, what's going on with World 1 is kind of like the whole game. It's the impetus for the entire game. So we're sort of saving the best for last, so to speak. See, it's a hell of a lot easier with probably the best bow in the entire game. But yeah, you know the story by now, a little bit, at least. King Alliance summons the old one fucks absolutely everything up, and that's why we're here. End of story. Oh, by the way, you're not seeing bloodstains and messages on the ground right now, because, well, they're not there. I'm currently disconnected from the internet, and I don't know why. Here, I think, is the boss of 5-1. Yeah, this is very much the boss of 5-1. I think he's called the Rotten, but I could be confusing him with the boss from Dark Souls 2. Oh, Leechmonger. Leechmonger can heal. I forget how to take on Leechmonger, actually. I think Leechmonger is... I think Leechmonger is weak to fire, which is sad because I don't have any fire arrows left. Yeah, I don't have any arrows left, period. As you can see, Leechmonger will repair himself. Wow, he's back up to full health. What an enormous pain in the ass. So, here's hoping the Storm Roller can deal as much damage as is necessary to take this big bastard down. I might have gone down the wrong way. This is one of the issues, is even getting to the fight is a little tough. Take this. See if the Storm Ruler can do the DPS that we require here. As you can see, the Storm Ruler doesn't split the sky whenever it's not in World 4. And it doesn't split the sky outside of the final boss of World 4 either. It doesn't split the sky outside of that that fight. I don't know what he's doing. What's the strat here? Now the last mount have been a very weapon damage too. Must not have been a very memorable boss. We just don't remember him at all. It's like 4 kings from Dark Souls 1, you know. I might need to just sit here and tank hits. Just to do DPS. That doesn't help. And you do light attack. It's my only hope of DPS. Fucking weapon broken. It's still doing 21. Maybe I can finish him off with magic, who knows? Wow. Heavily damaging attack. Yeah, dude. What am I supposed to do? I don't remember at all. What's the strat here? I can't really fucking do anything. So what's this over here? That's the last of my healing items. My weapon is broken. I don't have an archstone shard to... go back to the Nexus. That's it, I'm dead. What the fuck? I guess you just gotta fucking DPS it. Just gotta do a lot of damage in a very short amount of time. There's no way around it. Huh. What a pain in the ass. Need to do that. By the way, last video I talked about some hefty topics, didn't I? Talked about child soldiers and stuff like that. Yeah, really hefty topics. That's not me, talking about what I've been through or anything like that. I was never a top secret guy in the military. I was never, anybody that was important in any way, shape, or form, really. I was just military police. That's it. Nothing super, whatever. I talk about the topics because, Cody 2012, because I took part in Cody 2012. Because I'm passionate about the subject, stuff like that, but it was never anything that I had to run into while I was in the military at all. My experience in the military, I never drew my weapon on a person. I was never felt threatened. I never had my life threatened. So I was never shot at. Nobody ever shot at me. Very, very basic stuff. So yeah, it's something that I came across because I, played and beat just about every Metal Gear Solid or Metal Gear game known to man. But and they introduced the subject, and I try not to be a monster. There was a lady that was talking about, she made a YouTube short about how people will literally, she only has one leg, I think. The other one's prosthetic, and she was talking about how people would tell her to put content warnings on her content because they don't want to be reminded that some fucking people don't have both of their legs. And that's so fucking ridiculous. That's such a ridiculous request and everything. And her main, counter argument is, I'm not a monster. Leave me the fuck alone. I can't believe that is happening to someone out there. Another human being is being asked that. That's such a fucking piece of shit dick move. There's no excuse for it. As somebody's asking her, hey, put content warnings because, I don't want to be reminded that, human beings like you exist. Fuck off. Fuck right off with that shit. It's so anger inducing just to even think about it. So, in a different context, sort of same situation here. I got all my arms and legs and everything, but as a veteran, shit's gonna happen. You know, stick around me long enough, I'm gonna say some inappropriate shit. I'm gonna say that I'm sorry if it bothers you or something like that. But it's just, it's, you know, hazard of the job, I guess. Just stick around me, you're gonna hear some shit that you probably don't want to hear. And I'm not going to be one of those internet tough guys that tells you, oh, just deal with it, you know. You can't have me at my best and you don't deserve me at my worst, or vice versa. None of that crap. But at the same time, you know, watch out. You know, there's content warning or whatever. I'm sorry that I didn't really get that at the start, but at the same time, I did at the start of this whole thing make it very clear that I'm a veteran, and veterans are not monsters. And so please don't treat us as such. You know, there are precautions, I guess, you need to take. There are expectations that come up whenever you hang around veterans. Ooh, sorry. Also, last video, I brought up the fact that the devout person that sells you basic miracles is no longer here. What happened to him? And that actually turned out to be a good question, because he does disappear whenever you rescue Saint Urbane. And he actually disappears before that. If you talk to him enough, he'll just fucking go away. So that's weird. On the same vein, Crestfallen Warrior, what was his deal? Why did he go insane? Stuff like that. Yes, here in Demon Souls, souls are what keep your sanity. You know, souls are what make you sane. And whenever you are outside of body form, whenever you are not alive anymore, you bear the risk of becoming insane by being in this half-alive state. In the rest of the Souls series, in Dark Souls and such, it's known as going hollow. Whenever you're undead, you eventually go hollow. And the only way to prevent yourself from going hollow is to kill monsters, get more souls. And that alone carries its own risks, because you could get addicted to the entire process of getting souls. In fact, there's a conundrum at the end of the game, and it's, I think they give you the option of giving like 35. Maybe again. It's close to my bedtime. They give you the option of getting like 35,000 souls or like 80,000 souls. And it's the difference between the good and bad ending. Now eventually we're going to have to choose both in order to get all of the PlayStation trophies and whatnot. But it's that sort of thing. So you can get addicted to the process of getting these souls, and you can go too far in either direction. So that striking that balance is important. Well, the Crestfallen Warrior was sitting here outside of his body form because he would have either needed to find a stone of Ephemera eyes in order to return to life, or he would have had to he would have had to beat a boss, and he didn't want to do either. He didn't want to do any of that crap. You know, he just, his back was broken upon the difficulty of this game, and he never went forward. So eventually, you know, he wondered whether or not he could even go back to his body form. And then in time, with his loss of souls, with the fact that he never went out there to get more souls, in time, that drove him completely to madness and eventually to death. He was driven mad until his body quit itself. And so that's the way that things went for the crestfallen warrior. So, you know, he logged off of real life, and that is the fate of the warriors among you that will pick up this controller, play this game, and rage quit and never finish. You log out of this game, this world, and you don't get to experience its highs or its lows, or any of its lessons that it has to teach, any of its wonders that it has to give. Now, you may not appreciate any of its wonders. You may not see any highs in the game whatsoever. It is perfectly fine to find this game detestable. You might even like the rest of the Souls series and dislike this game in particular. That's also perfectly fine. But, you know, that's one of the things that's a hazard of the job. It's a hazard of the position and whatnot. So, you are the crestfallen warrior if you quit the game. But you are your own journey. You are the story that you create within this world if you get to the end, if you do not. So we're going to try to get to the end. We're going to try to get all of the trophies and get our money's worth out of this game. Apparently, it is not unusual for people in body form, as you know, it's not unusual for living people to gain access to the Nexus in one way, shape, form, or another. So it's not actually unusual that Astrava is here and he is alive, as is some of these other gentlemen. They're not warriors. They have no risk of going insane. And so be it. But whenever you stay in soul form for too long, eventually you incorporate entirely. You discorporate, disassociate entirely. You completely lose any tenuous grasp over anything keeping you in this world, and you're gone. One of the other things that's here that's all about soul madness is the fact that each and every person here has souls. It has a certain amount of souls, either representing, you know, again, souls aren't souls the way that we know it here in real life, where everybody has one. Within certain religions and whatnot, and spiritualities and contexts. Here in the Demon Souls universe, having a soul, souls are just what keep your sanity. So everyone here has souls, and you're allowed to attack here. You can, in fact, kill everybody in the Nexus and gain their souls. I believe the Maiden in Black will actually come back. She's important to drive the story forward. And also, I think she's a sort of primeval demon herself. She says she's here. There's a conversation that I had with her off camera where she states that she's been here since the Old One first came and will be here whenever he is sealed away once more. And so she's very clearly more of a creature than a person at all, and more of a primal force than anyone else here. Nobody really knows the full extent of it, but she may predate the old one himself. I have no idea. But yeah, she's more of a force of nature, poorly disguised as a person, not really a person altogether. Finally, I wanted to talk about how much I appreciate the Storm Ruler in the remake. So one more person lumping praise upon Blue Point. There was something about the original that didn't really get everything right with the Stormwiller fight. I think that they did as best as they could, but it doesn't really capture it. And one of the things that came up on my mind upon fighting the Stormwiller again, which has never come up in there before, is me seeing it as a Lovecraftian creature, as a cosmic horror that barely even cares that someone is threatening its life and does not think that you're a threat that could end its life. You know how in Skyrim, you you learn a shout known as Dragon Rend as part of the main storyline, and by using the shout Dragon Rend, it forces a dragon to land, and the fate the what Dragon Rend does to the dragon is it forces an immortal dragon to think about and acknowledge the concept of death. And that realization floors them. Quite literally, because it completely knocks them out of the sky. That just the thought that they could die is enough to blow their minds enough where they have to land on solid ground for a moment just to get their bearings. It's such a ridiculous lore point and everything, and it ties back to the Storm Ruler because the Storm Ruler is floating across the sky and whatnot, but it doesn't really seem to care all that much about self-defense. It seems as if it doesn't even realize that it could die because it's so indifferent to your presence. It's so indifferent to you. At least that's the way that it felt to me as I was fighting him just this recently. So the entire idea and everything really struck me as something that was Lovecraftian and cosmic in nature, where it's something that's so it's worshipped by so many people. That's the shrine of storms. Everybody worships the storms, the rainwaters, the floating mantis of rays, and of course the storm ruler himself. But it's worshipped by so many people that it doesn't even know. I was speaking to my cousin quite a while back, and we were talking about Lovecraftian horror because he doesn't know why Lovecraft is such a big deal. And told him that there was he invented cosmic horror, essentially, or at least popularized it. And I said, there's the video game Dragon's Dogma does a great job with cosmic horror. The video game Dragon's Dogma, you fight a ridiculously large dragon, and it's in the intro. The dragon is very, very large. You are at any point in time bothering the dragon's toenail, or climbing up its tail, hoping to get anywhere where you can damage the damn thing. It seems impossibly large, like you would think of gods as big, and the damage and wanton destruction that it does is not purposeful, like a like a bull being charging at a matador or something, it is almost accidental. Just like in its way are certain feeds. And you find out that the primary dragon in Dragon's Dogma, the boss in particular, which is not the final boss, by the way, but you find out that it's more of a primordial creature. It's more of a something that keeps the balance of magic together for the world of Dragon's Dogma. And my favorite thing about Grigori, the name of the primary dragon in the game, my favorite thing about him is that there's a dragon cult that you come across very early in the game, and you come across them over and over again. They get up to some shenanigans. They summon creatures like a hydra, possibly an ogre, or a gigantic, or a cyclops, I believe, maybe. And so you come across these people repeatedly, and it seems like they're going to be an antagonistic force, and that, because they worship the dragon is to be on their side. And you finally get to this fort area where the primary dragon cult leader is, and he gives this big long speech about how you shouldn't fuck with dragons and that you are a regressionist and you're just delaying the inevitable and dragons are clearly superior creatures and blah blah blah. And right in the middle of the speech, whenever it's to wrap up, the dragon itself appears and he's like, aha, here's the creature we all worship and whatnot. And Grigori simply crushes the dragon cult leader without a care in the world, and says that these silly creatures worship him. Semi-apologizes for them delaying the meeting between the player character and Grigori the dragon and their fated magical get-together. Because it is written down in the fates, it's woven into the magic of that universe. Because whenever it comes down to it, you meet the dragon and you have to choose between your love for someone very important to you or something, a reward beyond human imagination. And you have to make that choice. And if you choose your love, then you must fight the dragon. It is a multi-level, multi-scale conflict. Taking aim with ballistae, attacking, going from battlefield to battlefield, slowly climbing up its back one scale at a time. It is its own masterpiece all by itself. It's absolutely tremendous game. I recommend to anybody. Poorly unfinished, but otherwise fantastic. And if you can get Dark Arisen and head down to Bitter Black Isle, you'll hear a story that is so much deeper than that, yet shallow in nature, and so much worse, so much more in every way. I love the story of Bitter Black Isle. I love almost everything about it. Either way, back to this game. That's something that the Storm Ruler reminded me of while I was fighting it. It was very cosmic. It was very Lovecraftian. The way that I felt it, it's self-defense and whatnot. seemed almost accidental. Like it's something that happens, like breathing. And we will get to the point. We are going to fight the dragon god, and the dragon god can kill us simply by breathing. And I'm not talking about purposeful dragon breath. I'm talking about literally it breathes, and the steam that comes out whenever it exhales can hurt and kill our player characters. So we must be very cautious around it. Either way, been a lot of standing still and telling stupid stories about other entire games. So that'll be the end of this episode, and I'll probably see you again whenever I give the Leechmonger another chance. I have to completely restock all of my healing items, as you saw, and I don't really know, I don't really know where I'm going to go to do that. Like I could grind out level 4-2 for a little while and buy my healing items, but I don't buy healing items. But I also don't know where to grind out healing items. So I don't know yet. Oh, and a couple videos ago I said, hey, I think that red phantoms mostly go away whenever we were about to fight Executioner Maralda. That's true. Red phantoms usually do go away, but the ones that are nearby Executioner Maralda absolutely do not. They respawn every time, and every single time, every single one of them drops at least one crescent weed, the weakest healing item in the entire game. But you can get an infinite amount just by, reloading or warping back. Oh my goodness. Warping back to the beginning of the stage. They'll respawn over and over and over again, and you can defeat them until you are tired of doing so, and get an infinite supply of the worst healing item in the entire game. But that is not the place that I'm going to grind out. It's not the place where I'm going to buy all these things that I need. That's not any of those places. But I don't know what is. So I guess we'll see you next episode. I'll think about it, I'm about to fall asleep anyway, so maybe I'll dream about it and wake up with an answer. Either way, I'll talk to you next time I get the chance. See you then.